Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're talking about a Crystal Beast Tri-Brigade deck profile. So this is a deck I've had kind of in the back burner for a while now. I've had a few decks, like the bug deck I just did. There's a couple of other ones that I've been meaning to mess around with to see what I can do with it. I love the Tri-Brigade archetype. And the Crystal Beast package is pretty interesting. I still think like Sprite Tri-Brigade is the best way to run Tri-Brigade right now. But the Crystal Beast package really does pack a punch. Now, I will say, on the Crystal Beast package, I am not running the Equip spell. I just think that it fits a little bit better in a Crystal Beast deck. There's just not enough cards to run the Equip spell effectively. A lot of times it ends up being a brick. So that's why it's not in here. I know someone's still going to comment, where's the Equip spell? That's where the Equip spell is at. Because it is a really good Equip spell. One of the best Crystal Beast cards around. But I didn't have room for it, right? So starting with, of course, 3 copies of Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus. This is the heart and soul of the engine, really. This is the interaction point, because Sapphire Pegasus is not only the best Crystal Beast monster, but it also just so happens to be a beast, right? So we can pitch it off of Kuraz. We can use it for material for one of our Tri-Brigade monsters. These effects not a hard once per turn. 1800 attack sometimes does pack a pretty mean punch. So it's just a really good card, along with Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon, which obviously has the effect of banishing itself, summoning out another Sapphire Pegasus. It's just absolutely insane, this package in particular. And then obviously you do have to run the 1 Rainbow Dragon to search off of the Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon. You only need 1 though, because we can obviously put it back. And that's one of my favorite interaction points is that, you know, when it comes to the Baron and the Rampant Rampager, a lot of times resolving their effect, I feel like I put a weird card back, or a card I didn't want to put back. But because this is literally just added off of the summon of this, it's literally just free advantage that I can just put back and use it later in the duel, obviously. But that's it for the Crystal Beast package. Like I said, really small. That's why, you know, no Equip spell. You know, I was trying like Topaz, whichever one gains 400 attack when it attacks. It just, you know, the less amount of Crystal Beast stuff, the better, because it is, at the end of the day, a Tri-Brigade deck, right? So we're running 3 Fractal, 3 Nerval, 3 Kit, and just 2 Kuraz. A pretty standard lineup. Not anything too crazy here. Don't have to really dive too deep into it. Kuraz is actually not a bad 3 of, but I still like this ratio of the Tri-Brigade stuff the best. And if you guys have the availability, like without a doubt, I recommend picking this package up, because there are just so many. I mean, like you really have like the Sprite deck, which isn't even like Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast, but it still functions well with this because of the level 2s, right? Like there's just so many interaction points that this deck has. I recommend getting it. Konami's gonna keep producing Beast Warrior, Wing Beast archetypes, so it's just gonna keep being good. You know, Lyricist is another archetype that can be ran with it. This is one of my favorite packages in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! I highly recommend it, because it is relatively budget. 3 copies of Rescue Cat, one of the best cards in the game's history. Just literally free advantage. Obviously, it's susceptible to a well-timed Imperm, well-timed Veiler, and an Ash. Obviously, Ashes are Ashes for a reason, but if this card resolves, especially in this deck, because it accrues so much advantage, it's just so free. It's just so free. But that's it for the non-hand trap monsters. For the hand traps, 1 DD Crow. Obviously, it's a Tri-Brigade deck. Sure, it can search it, so no reason to run it at more than 1, but no reason not to run it, right? 2 copies of Ghost Ogre, 3 copies of Ash. I see a lot of times in deck profiles, people will run like 2 Veiler, 3 Veiler, and 3 Imperm, which I don't think is terrible. You know, obviously Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a very monster effect oriented game. Right now it's kind of a little bit more leaning towards Labyrinth and all of that kind of stuff, but it still relies heavily on monster effects. So I understand running 6 copies of monster effect negation. I just think Ghost Ogre has a little bit more versatility. So that's why I'm running that. And in deck profiles like this, like if I go to an event, which I haven't been to an event in a long time, but if I go to an event, I might have a little bit more like meta-specific hand traps. But in a deck profile like this, you know, just a little bit more generic cards. Now, so that is it for the monsters. Some are upside down. Just a bunch of monsters. Like I said, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a little bit more of a monster effect type of game. But for the spells, 3 copies of Fire Formation Tenki. The reason we're running it at 3, it's just a fantastic starter. Even if you run Tenki if you bump into Tenki Fractal, Tenki, it's just absolutely insane. 2 copies of Rainbow Bridge, 2 copies of Crystal Bond. This is the exact like right here, or maybe even right here. That's your exact opening hand that you want. I decided on 2 Crystal Bond because it is a hard once per turn. Rainbow Bridge is not, but I only have 1 other target for the crystal stuff, so that's why I'm only running it at 2. I just think that, like I said, the less amount of Crystal Beast stuff that's still effective, the better. That's why I'm only running both of these at 2. But Crystal Bond is just insane advantage. And like these 2 together, net you, a Tenki, literally 2 monsters, 4 monsters, or I think, 4 monsters in your grave, and you haven't used your normal summon, right? Because you can do the Fractal Kit Nerval for Kuraz, Crystal Bond, to add Pegasus, put the Ultimate Dragon there, banish the Ultimate Dragon, summon out Pegasus, you can put another Ultimate Dragon down there, search the Ultimate Dragon, pitch the other Pegasus you added off Crystal Bond to summon out the Kuraz, and you could just literally combo from there. I thought about doing a combo tutorial, but there's just so many crazy cool play strings. That's kind of like the basic combo, what I just said. So hopefully you're writing it down. 1 copy of Monster Reborn, 1 copy of Called by the Grave. I might run like Foolish Burial as well. Foolish Burial is pretty good because it's an interaction with Nerval. But I like these 2. These are 2 probably the best limited spells in the entire game. Just absolutely fantastic. But that's it for the spells. Not too many spells, but even less traps. I mentioned this already. 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. This is probably my favorite hand trap, probably the best hand trap in the game, because it's a dual purpose, right? So we can use it against our opponent going first, because we could set it, maybe potentially turn off a Dark Ruler No More, right? Or a big board wipe like that, because if we set it and they put it and they don't play around the imperm, because I know a lot of people do play around the imperm column, but some people just don't, right? And so you can get a free win with that. You can obviously use it going second to stop your opponent's play string. You can also use it going second as just like target Baron to force out the negation. I shouldn't have to. I don't have to sell imperm to you guys. I know that. Obviously, 1 copy of Tri-Brigade Revolt and 1 copy of Crystal Miracle. That card actually did come up a good amount in testing, and I tested against a lot. I tested against obviously like Sprite, Kashtira, not really much Labyrinth, Salamangreat, Sword Soul. Crystal Beast, Conclave Control, just a bunch of different decks. This came up a lot. Very, 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 very few times. I actually can't even remember any time off the top of my head where this just like wasn't live when it was in my hand. I actually kind of wish I saw this more. So it might be a 3rd Rainbow Bridge in the future. But 40 card main deck, gotta love to see it. For the extra deck, 2 Omen, 2 Baron Blossom, just 1 Rampant Rampager, and 1 Regal, the Silver Sheller. I never really found a need for the 2nd Rampant Rampager because you have the 2nd Baron. But you do need, one of these 2 do need to be at 2 at the very least. And I love 2 Shurig. Just absolutely fantastic. And this did come up a lot, actually. Just the free Link 3 comes up a good amount, right? For our cards that we like to summon off of the Tri-Brigade effects, 1 copy of Desperate Doom Eagle and 1 copy of the Ancient Warriors Double Dragon Lords. I've never said its whole name before. Should be self-explanatory. Free DD Crow, actually it shuffles it back into the deck, but still essentially a similar thing, and a free bounce are pretty cool. And what's really cool actually about this card in particular is, like, remember that combo I was just talking about, where it basically ended with a Rainbow Dragon in the Spell and Trap. You can also put a Pegasus in the Spell and Trap, make this card, use this card to bounce the Pegasus so you have follow-up for next turn. Just a fun another interaction that I didn't even think about until I was testing, and I was like, oh my gosh, this can bounce my Crystal Beast Spell and Trap card, make it back into a monster. 1 Almirage, 1 Saryuja. I actually like Saryuja a lot, so I am just running the Saryuja just as a really cool 15th card. 1 Nightmare Phoenix to get rid of pesky back row, especially nowadays because of the old Labyrinth. IP, Unicorn, Appaloosa, Access Code Talker. This is still a fantastic combo. This can also go into Appaloosa. Appaloosa is still one of the best cards in the game going first. And Access Code Talker is just Access Code Talker, right? But that's it. Let me know what you guys think of those comments down below. This is my version of Tri-Brigade Crystal Beast. I'll answer any comments or questions you might have about the deck. Make sure you guys click that like button, show your support for the channel, subscribe for even more content. Most importantly of all, have a good day.